Yo, what's going on, guys? It's your boy, Atypical Security Guard. Today, I want to talk about the top 5 things your company won't tell you in security. So, if any of you guys who are following this channel, watching this video, being a part of this community right now, are currently working for companies, I'm going to go over 5 things that they will not tell you at the beginning of your employment that more than likely, if you've been doing this long enough, you've already found out. But for those of you guards who are new to the industry, who are looking to get in to the security guard industry, I'm going to go over a couple of these things. And it's important for you to hear what I'm saying, to listen to the information that I'm giving you, and bring this up at your initial interview. Ask about these things, talk about these things, and get ahead of it before you end up on the bad side of a situation. Let's get right to it. Number 5 is going to be inadequate training. They may not fully disclose the level or the quality of training provided, potentially leaving a guard ill-prepared. Now, when we talk about this, what exactly are we talking about? We're talking about the entire gamut of working in security. A lot of the larger box chains, the retail level security companies out there, Securitas, Maxent, AGS, Allied Universal, they're generally placing people in positions to work and to fill a spot, to fill a void that has probably been unfilled for so long. And a lot of these guards, when they're placed in the situation, they're not given any training. And if they are given training, it's very much inadequate. Issues like dealing with the public, issues of not over escalating a situation, how to respond to emergencies, how to work at your position as a guard and interact with police officers or clients or customers. All of this requires a level of skill, a level of maturity, and a level of informational training that, if not given, is going to lead to a lot of problems. This ultimately leads to those officers feeling like they cannot perform up to standard, feeling like they're absolutely lost in the wind, and most of those guards ultimately will quit. If you're taking an opportunity to interview with some of these companies, ask them, what exactly do you guys do in terms of training? How do I know when I can get involved? How do I know what the laws are that surround working in security? How do I know what my authority is? How do I protect myself? What do I do in a situation of a medical emergency? All of these things are great questions to ask up front. And if they cannot give you any information as to how they are going to train you, that is a huge red flag. Now, I say that with the understanding that everyone has to start somewhere. If you are new to the industry and you're not sure if this is something that you want to do long term, take that position, ask these questions, and then it is up to you. It's incumbent on you to seek out that necessary training. But understand that you're going to be held responsible for whatever you do and you don't do, regardless of if you're trained by your company or not. Number 4 is going to be subpar equipment or resources. Some companies may not reveal if they provide substandard equipment or lack essential resources for their guards. Potentially, this is putting their safety at risk. Now, when we're talking about substandard equipment, what could that be? That could be anything from uniforms to tools that you might need, radios, clipboards, anything and everything that you're going to need to actually perform the task or the duty at hand. I've seen many guards who've shown up not having proper gear, not having proper uniforms, having uniforms that are ill-fitted. Guys, listen, at the very base level of security, it's all about presenting a presence. And if you're presenting a presence where your uniform is not well kept, it's not fitted, it doesn't look like you have any sort of standard, that is presenting an image that off the bat immediately is not going to garner any sort of respect. And if you're unable to garner any sort of respect, you're not going to gain very much compliance. This is a huge issue across the board in all avenues of security. At the very least, if you are a new security guard, I would be asking about your uniforms. How many shirts are you going to receive? Are you going to receive pants? Are they going to provide you with boots? Cold weather gear, rain gear. All of these things are so important. If you're working in that arm capacity, are they providing the firearm? If they're providing the firearm, is this something that is certified and authorized through the state? Again, remember that every single aspect of what you do in the security world, you are responsible for. You have to ask these questions. You need to understand what the responsibility in terms of the equipment and the tools that you need are from your company and from you. And remember, anything and everything that you're carrying on your uniform, you have to be certified in. You are responsible if you use those items. Let's go to number 3. This is a very big one, and we are seeing this more across the board. Unethical practices. Some companies might not disclose if they engage in unethical practices, such as turning a blind eye to certain activities or bending the rules. Guys, for most of you, this is something that you would never bring up in a conversation. I am telling you how important this is. You will find that many companies are cutting corners. Many companies are bending rules. And if you find yourself in a situation where you are involved in that, this could not only cost you your certification, in some situations, it might cost you your life. This situation has reared its head here in Portland, where we had specific security companies who were employing security guards who were not licensed to be armed. All well and good until a situation where the security officer killed someone in the line of duty. Then all hell breaks loose. They find out that the company is employing people who are not certified through the state to be carrying firearms. They find out that the people that are carrying firearms don't own the firearms, and they're actually borrowing the firearms from certain people in that company. These are situations that are not only unethical, they're illegal, and they make the entire industry look bad. You have to make sure that the company that you're working for is not only above board, but is ethical. Watch out for working for people or for companies that are cutting corners, doing things on the low end of the spectrum and trying to get by, because ultimately your name is going to be attached to that company and the actions that they perform. Number 2 is going to be the legal gray areas. A company might not openly discuss any questionable legal practices that they may be involved in, such as operating in regulatory gray areas. This is very similar to the last point. This would be having people work without licenses, having people work without certifications, having people carrying items or tools or utilizing certain equipment and not being certified for. Again, if you bring these questions up, most of the time those companies, those people, those managers, they're not going to admit that they're involved in this, because a lot of this stuff is illegal. But if they're not willing to talk to you, they're not willing to assure you and put you at ease that this is not something that you have to worry about working for their company, you should run. Also, do a quick Google search, find out about the company that you're looking into, and see if there are any news stories or any issues that pertain to that company in anything that could be unethical or illegal. Number 1 is going to be the conflict of interest. They may not disclose any conflicts of interest that could compromise the guard's impartiality. Now, the biggest conflict of interest that security officers have to be aware of is the contract is king. What do I mean by that? That means that nothing, absolutely nothing, comes before the contract. That means the situations that you might find yourself in as an officer, situations that you might find your family in that you have to respond to, times when you can't make it to work, times when you can't perform your duties. Ultimately, the contract is going to win out. If for some reason you are not able to perform, you are not able to perform up to the standards that have been set for you, you are going to be terminated. Nothing, not your relationship, not your time in service, not what you've given to the company will trump the contract. So if you do anything as an officer to jeopardize that contract, you will find yourself out of a job extremely quickly. You have to understand that if you're working in the security industry, there's no love, there's no friendship, it's only the contract. That would be the biggest conflict of interest, but that conflict of interest is coming in your direction, not going in their direction, because ultimately the security company is there to make money. So these are my top 5 things that security companies won't disclose to you, but you should most definitely be aware of, ask questions about, and be very, very, very on top of before you sign on to working any contract with any company. As always, watch your six and be great. Be great.